Hi. Welcome to Movie Plots. Today we recap the 2000 science fiction horror film Pitch Black. Spoilers ahead. The movie begins on board a spaceship carrying a group of passengers to their destination, all asleep except a prisoner who watches over them. The ship passes through a meteor storm, piercing the hull and killing the captain. Some of the crew wake as the ship begins plummeting down towards a strange planet. Docking pilot Carolyn Fry takes control of the ship, while navigator Greg Owens tries to send a distress signal. Fry puts the ship into a roll to slow down the descent, and begins detaching rear cabins to reduce the weight, intending to jettison the passenger cabin as well. Realizing this, Owens jams the airlock open between them. The air brakes fail and smash the windscreen, exposing Fry to the planet's harsh winds. They finally crash on the planet's surface, sending Owens flying through a window. The ship's remains are scattered over the planet's surface, and Fry finds Owens mortally impaled.
Don't you touch that handle!
We meet the other survivors of the crash. William J. Johns, a man with a police badge escorting the prisoner. A Muslim imam, with his 3 escorts on a pilgrimage to the planet New Mecca. Antiques dealer Paris. Settler Zeke and his partner Shaz. Stowaway Jack. And Richard B. Riddick, a feared murderer that always wears goggles to protect his sensitive eyes.
Richard B. Riddick, escaped convict, murderer.
Riddick briefly gets free after the crash, but is recaptured again by Johns. The crew thank their new captain for saving their lives. While Paris collects his luxury wine from the cargo hold, Imam gives them hope.
All deserts have water.
Meanwhile, Riddick once again eludes capture by dislocating his shoulders and escaping into the desert. This causes fear among the survivors, all except Jack, who idolizes him. Fry asks Imam to search for water before it gets dark, and realizing the planet has 3 suns, Imam takes the blue sun as a sign from God to search in that direction. While Johns assumes Riddick would have chosen the same. Half the group stay with orders to shoot Riddick on sight, while the other half head towards the sun in search of water and Riddick. After a while, Johns finds trees. However, on reaching them, it's just a huge bone structure in the middle of a giant graveyard. Johns tells Fry that he knows she was going to sacrifice the passengers, and thanks her for not doing so. All while Riddick listens in on them.
Smell you.
Leaving the boneyard, the group find a toy robot in the sand, and soon find a long abandoned settlement, proving there was once water. Fry finds a room with a model of the solar system, called an orrery, showing that the planet should get everlasting sunlight, which explains the lack of light bulbs around the place. She leaves the room and, to her delight, finds a small spaceship still intact. Back at the shipwreck, everyone is on edge, and Zeke shoots an unknown survivor who he thinks is Riddick. As Zeke buries the poor soul, he notices a small hole in the grave, and upon inspection, is dragged inside and killed. Sharon finds blood everywhere along with Riddick, and chases him on assumption. The fleeing Riddick is intercepted by Johns, who blinds him with the sun, and recaptures him. When questioned about Zeke's body, Riddick tells them that he is not the biggest threat to them on this planet. He also says that he got his night vision in prison. Beginning to believe Riddick, Fry investigates deeper into the hole, finding Zeke's belongings along the way. She gets to an opening in the cave, which is the inside of the spires from earlier, and is home to the planet's inhabitants. Trapped from her initial entrance, she begins to climb up a spire, and just before she is pulled back in by the aliens, the group manage to save her. Johns releases Riddick to help them against the threat, but doesn't allow him to carry a weapon. The group take a power cell from the wreck to power the small shuttle they found, but see that they need 4 more to get it flying. Imam gets a water machine working, while Jack goes full Riddick. The group speculate on what could be the reason for all the settlers leaving, but Riddick addresses the elephant. They're dead. One of Imam's children goes wandering and comes across a group of baby aliens that chase him into a dark room. After the group comes across his body, they find that the settlers all hid there from the aliens, but the small ones got to them. Fry finds core samples dated 20 years ago to the day, and checks out the planet model again, seeing that every 22 years, the planet is plunged into an eclipse. Johns warns Fry to wait until last minute to get the power cells, as Riddick could steal the ship and escape. But Fry begins trusting Riddick more, after he tells her Johns is lying about being a cop, that he is a morphine-addicted bounty hunter. Which she confronts him on, only for him to throw her morals back at her for not telling the survivors that she was going to space them to save herself during the crash. The group see a planet begin to rise on the horizon, and quickly race back to the crash site before the eclipse starts. They quickly grab the power cells they need for the shuttle. But the planets suddenly align, rendering the solar-powered buggy useless, and sending the planet into darkness. Thousands of mid-sized aliens burst from the spires up into the sky, and the survivors run back to the crash for shelter. When Riddick and Sharon fall behind, Sharon tries to make a run for it by herself and is caught by the aliens, and ripped to shreds. Riddick can now remove his goggles, and sees fully grown man-bird sharks emerge from the spires, and the planet is rendered pitch black. The crew hide in the ship, now as prisoners and aliens their guards. When Riddick and a boy come across some of the creatures, they avoid detection by standing still, discovering them to hunt movement with sonar like a bat. But the boy runs in fear, getting him killed. Riddick flees towards the group, and as John shoots the creature dead, they see that light actually burns their flesh. The group make the plan to run back to the skiff with the power cells, using all the light they have to ward off the aliens. Johns thinks it's a bad idea and that they should just wait for sunrise, but Fry reminds them that the original settlers thought they could do the same. They round up all the light sources and power cells onto a skiff, and Fry elects Riddick to lead them as he can see where to go. As they begin to run, the aliens are held back by the light. One of the creatures swoops at Paris, causing him to get scared and break the generator, leaving the group in darkness, and getting himself ate. The group discover that Riddick led them in a circle, and that Jack is a girl. Riddick led them in a circle to buy time, because there were too many aliens in the canyon initially. And Johns shuts down Fry's idea to head back. Johns suggests to Riddick that to survive the canyon, they leave Jack as bait. This angers Riddick, and a fight begins. Johns puts up a good fight, but Riddick ultimately defeats him. And as the flare goes out, Johns is run through by an alien and eaten. Riddick returns to the rest of the group, and upon inspection of an alien's corpse, finds a blind spot. They all make a run for it through the canyon, with Riddick dragging all 4 power cells himself and still keeping pace. A swarm of mid-size aliens fly overhead eating each other, as they are starving and are being kept from their food. When Jack gets pinned under some bones by an alien, Riddick drops the cells to fight it hand to hand, catching its arms and slicing it up, killing it. It begins to rain, and as the group finds cover against the canyon to protect their Molotovs, the final Pilgrim boy is taken. Riddick finds an opening in a cave, and as the group takes shelter, he traps them in it and heads for the shuttle. As the lights go out on the final 3, they discover glowworms on the cave walls, and fill their empty bottles to make lamps. Riddick arrives at the shuttle and begins to prepare it for takeoff, planning on abandoning the others. When Fry, having left Imam and Jack at the cave, reaches him in time before he escapes. After a back and forth of Riddick convincing her to leave, and Fry arguing they stay, they tussle a little, with Fry saying that she would die to save the others. Back at the cave, Riddick has a change of heart.
Never had a doubt.
They make one last dash for the shuttle, and as Riddick gets separated from the others, he uses his knowledge of their blind spot to avoid detection. But when a second one appears, he becomes visible. Hearing Riddick yell, Fry rushes to try help him, but having already killed the aliens he is now wounded. Fry is suddenly stabbed from behind by a talon, and pulled away into the darkness. Riddick, Imam, and Jack prepare to depart, with Riddick letting the aliens surround the ship to kill a bunch with the thrusters as they exit the atmosphere. When asked what the two should tell people happened to him, Riddick responds,
Tell him Riddick's dead.
and the movie ends. Pitch Black is a 2000 science fiction action horror directed by David Twohy and co-written by Twohy and brothers Ken and Jim Wheat. The film developed from David Twohy's unused idea for Alien 3 involving a space prison, and was the influence behind Doctor Who Planet of the Dead. Shot over a 60 days period, the desert scenes were filmed in the same outback location as Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Being part of the Riddick trilogy, this is the only film of the 3 in which Riddick kills 0 people. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.
So where the hell's your god now?